Hi everyone, you are welcome to this video, and in this video we are going to talk about diabetes in eyes. And the diabetes, of course, in eyes, we have been sharing how diabetes affects our general body, a few concepts, but how diabetes affect eyes. So as we are saying, high blood sugar causes what a condition in eyes called diabetic retinopathy. Retinopathy, it comes from the word retina. Pathy means death. So there is a death of or loss of function of the retina because of diabetes. That is what you call diabetic retinopathy. I know you can hear this statement and you make it scares you, but it means that the part in the eye called the retina loses function because of diabetes. And how it loses function is that when these blood sugars get clogged into the blood vessels, they cause these blood vessels to swell, they cause them to fail. There is limited flow of blood into these blood vessels because of the clogged blood sugar levels in the body or in the blood system. So this only causes the blood vessels to stretch, and sometimes they can reach at a level of them stretching until they are torn up or they get to burst. And once these blood vessels burst, which are supplying the inside wall of the eye called the retina, it starts causing bleeding. Yet that part has to be very clean. It should not have any stain, not even any blood. So once that blood stains the retina, then a person will start experiencing a lot of signs, and one of the signs is poor vision. Sometimes a person will see it as something moving in the eye, or sometimes a person will not be seeing objects fully, or sometimes they can see objects but they cannot clearly describe in the center. So all that can come because of diabetic retinopathy. So diabetic retinopathy is one of the leading cause of unavoidable blindness, because once we know early, we can avoid getting into that stage, or we can even delay the process if it is to reach there. So diabetic retinopathy is the leading cause of blindness, and this can be delayed once the population is screened early and the population is treated early and people are educated what the condition is and how to keep the blood sugars low. So in this case, diabetic retinopathy is one of the expensive eye conditions to treat, because when that bleeding goes off, when the bleeding comes into the retina, the minimum cost of the injection per one injection to clear the bleeding can be over $100, and you will find that these people in our populations are very poor to reach to that level. And once diagnosed early, we can really prevent ourselves from reaching to such a level. But also when the bleeding is too much and it goes in for other treatment options, it is very expensive. That's why we need to really come up or follow our prevention methods so that we cannot reach to such levels. So that's what I'm intending to do in my community. Besides my community eye health camps, we can still educate these communities so that they don't lose vision because of diabetes. And what happens also, secondly, besides the bleeding in the retina and the vitreous and the anterior segment, we can also have new formation of blood vessels. Remember, the ones which are clogged by blood sugars are not operating, and yet the retina wants to get enough food. So they will form very delicate new blood vessels over the retina that can even extend over the anterior segment. So once these new blood vessels are formed, they are very prone to rupture or breaking, and all this can continue contributing to the bleeding within the eye. If you have ever been diabetic to that level, you realize they will let you, they always tell you that your eye is bleeding inside the eye. But when you look at the person outwardly, you may not know that. So it is very important. And sometimes, like last week, I had a patient who had retinal bleeding because of diabetes, and this patient had never known. So when he was bathing, he covered one the other eye is not seeing. So this patient came when the eye had bled and even the retina had healed and left scars and there is no vision. And remember, such a patient, you cannot be able to improve their vision beyond where they are because vision is already lost. So, but if you can be having routine checkups, as long as you are diagnosed with diabetes, such a person would have known when even the bleeding was fresh and would get some injections called diabetic injections and the bleeding would have cleared. So it is very important whoever is following up with our channel, you can empower your community, you can empower your relatives to always have a thorough eye checkup uh, to the hospital, to an eye hospital, so that we can diagnose these conditions early once a person has diabetes or blood pressure. So that is what we can talk about diabetic retinopathy, but we still implore more people to empower others so that we can have a healthy community. Remember, once you're blind, you'll need more three people to care for you. One to take you to the toilet, the second one to bring for you food, and the third one to wash for your clothes. And all those people will not need to move away from you. So if a population is having like 100 people like that, you realize that that community will not develop at all. So it is very important for us to have desensitization or awareness, and that's why we are looking forward to doing a lot of screening activities in communities. And if you have something, you can support us to see that these communities are empowered, screened early, and can be able to get eye health services early as possible once they are diagnosed with diabetes. And besides that, even also we are looking at blood pressure. These are the chronic diseases that are disturbing or that are making our populations very economically inactive. So once we join up efforts through Gulf Eye Health Foundation, we can really bring a good life to our communities, to our places where people cannot manage to afford eye care services and general eye health at large. So I would love to thank you so much for viewing this channel, and we shall be discussing more things as we get on. Thank you.